What do you get when you take an amazing game, dilute it with corporate greed over a few years, sprinkle in a bit of paywalling, water down all the expansions, and re-release old content but label it as new? You get one of the most influential MMOs of all time, Destiny 2. D2 is a game that's been flooded with controversy over the past couple years. It seems like every update, Bungie manages to disappoint more and more people somehow. And just as you begin to think, at least it can't get any worse, well, let me be the one to tell you it can always get worse.
At the time of writing, Lightfall sits at a mostly negative 33% on Steam, a number not seen since the Curse of Osiris DLC long ago, a DLC widely considered to be Destiny's worst ever update. The critics side of things is better, but still nothing to write home about. Lightfall is scoring plenty of 7s and maybe some 8s. IGN issued a review in progress where they scored the expansion a 5, and given the size and reach of IGN, that number certainly did the rounds and helped shape a narrative that Lightfall kinda sucks. Even Destiny 2 content creators jumped in, many of them voicing their disappointment with Lightfall. Wherever you looked, user scores, critics, social media, content creators, the message was clear. Lightfall fucking sucks.
So we'll start off with the issues in D2. 2023 has been a rough year for Destiny 2. It went from its all-time peak to its all-time low in a matter of few months. The Steam charts say it all. And if I were Bungie, I'd be worried. Instead of making attempts to appease all the players who left because of the lack of engaging content, Bungie instead decides to explain how they're going to completely neglect 2 entire core game modes due to a lack of resources. In a recent This Week in Destiny post, Bungie revealed that they are no longer going to be releasing consistent updates for Gambit or Crucible because they can't afford to focus resources on it. I don't even know why Gambit is in the game at all anymore, to be honest, but I know a significant number of D2 players who almost exclusively play Crucible. Bungie essentially said they're going to be turning their back on a huge group of dedicated players, so you know what they did? They all just quit. And it shows in the number of players over the past couple of months. Once again, Steam charts never lie. What makes the least sense though is they claim they don't have the resources to make even a single map for Crucible or Gambit. On Twitter, Kujay made a thread explaining why Bungie is full of it. He shows how dedicating only 20 of their estimated 800 plus developers to Crucible and Gambit content would only take up about 0.08% of Bungie's resources. With over 1,500 employees, it's hard to comprehend how Bungie can claim they don't have anyone to work on simple PvP maps. If it's that much of an issue for them, they haven't had problems releasing old content behind a paywall before, so I don't see why they can't just bring back some of the fan favorite D1 maps still not in the game, like Blind Watch, Firebase Delphi, Asylum, or they could even do what Apex Legends does and just cut out parts of already existing areas in the game that would be good for PvP. But nonetheless, one of the greatest and most memed banes of Destiny 2 is the free-to-play experience. Aside from Bungie's commitment to no longer release content for arguably the most popular mode in the game, they're also digging themselves into a hole with monetization. Or maybe building a wall would be a better way to phrase it. Destiny 2 is one of the least free-to-play games I've ever seen. I'd even argue D2 is far from a free-to-play game, as nearly all of the content is locked behind a paywall. It's hard to find a game that isn't the victim of power creep in 2023, and D2 is no exception. So when you market your game as free but lock all of the meta-defining armor, weapons, supers, grenades, and abilities behind a price tag, your game isn't free. How am I supposed to compete with getting one bursted by the Necrochasm when I'm here stuck with my Jade Rabbit basically shooting Nerf darts? I'm pretty sure the D2 meta has changed by now, but once upon a time this was definitely a thing. We now have 2 entire subclasses locked behind a paywall, and they're arguably the 2 best subclasses in the game. Just look at this. How are we supposed to compete with this? On launch, Stasis was the only subclass with artifacts, so free-to-play players had to wait over a year for all the base game subclasses to be on the same level. As I mentioned before, it's not just the subclasses being affected by power creep, but also the exotics. You have new armor pieces coming out where it would be faster to read Harry Potter than go through all of the effects on them. Like, look, the exotics we get today compared to what the free-to-play players are left with, Soul Eater Scales versus Gemini Jester, the power creep is so obvious if you just take a minute to look through all the year 1 exotics compared to any exotic released in the last year. The other issue with being a free-to-play player is it used to be very doable back when Forsaken dropped and almost all of the loot was still obtainable from actually playing the game. But now a new obstacle stands in the way of being a free-to-play player, Eververse. It started off okay, with an occasional couple items being added to Eververse every once in a while. But now the amount of items you can get from playing versus simply buying them is almost 1-to-1. I never thought I'd say this, but I actually miss being able to farm for ships only obtainable after you complete a mission on 2 difficulties, find all the hidden chests, shoot orbs in a pattern, and play a heroic strike on a specific day over the course of 3 weeks. Holy crap. Let's not forget about the old head model that Destiny 2 just can't seem to forget about. Destiny 2 uses such an outdated monetization model. It's using the same model MMOs used back in 2004. World of Warcraft is a great example of this. I get it if you want to make the game free, but charging the price of an entirely fully developed AAA game for every new expansion and then asking another $10 a month for the season pass and dropping a new dungeon with meta-defining loot for $30, add in some random event passes for $15, and you have to literally be Jeff Bezos to play this game. And God forbid you want one of the over 400 cosmetic ornaments because that's gonna set you back another $20. Or of course, you can wait 6 to 10 months for it to maybe rotate into the store for Bright Dust by the time the exotic is already unusable. The other issue with this monetization model is Bungie can't make up their mind. Most games either go the route of mostly monetizing through cosmetics or through gameplay expansions. But here at Destiny 2, we do things a little differently because Bungie said, why not both? We have a cosmetic store, $50 yearly expansions, and the Battle Pass. So now you have options on what to waste your money on. The Destiny 2 Battle Pass is one of the worst additions to the game since Titans were added. November Hotel made a good point in his video when he said battle passes are not revolutionary. They're just a gutted feature that's sold as extra with an expiration date that includes FOMO. If Bungie put even half as much energy into literally any other part of the game as they do with paid cosmetics, I could see Destiny 2 topping the Steam charts easily. It's the only free-to-play game I've seen with the higher entry price than buying the past 4 Call of Duty games, and even then, Warzone is actually free. Destiny 2 is like the Marvel movies of gaming. They keep finding ways to spend less time and money making content while pumping out as much filler as possible until the next mediocre expansion. Destiny used to be one of the best games on the market, but with all the poor choices Bungie has made recently, they might have finally brought the downfall of Destiny 2.